Welcome to Democratic Television, a program of the Santa Clara County Democratic Party that brings insights, perspectives, and attitudes of our always thoughtful Democratic guests. Today we're joined by Stephanie Valenzuela, an alumni of Americorps. So Stephanie, thanks for being on Democratic Television.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Cool, because we have a lot to talk about. You appear to be a young person and you went through Americorps. We're going to talk about those things. Before we do that, though, let's get to know you a little bit. Where'd you grow up? Where are you from?
I'm actually originally from here, from San Jose. Grew up in San Jose, a little bit around the area of the East San Jose, but went to school here, elementary school, moved around a little bit, and went to the local school, Evergreen High School. Graduated, and I eventually led on to UC Merced. So
okay.
So graduated from there in 2012 as well.
Oh, wonderful. It sounds like you've had a pretty good life so far.
So far.
I'm making assumptions. So you grew up in San Jose. Did you have any thoughts when you were growing up that public service, which is kind of the main topic of the show, was something that interested you?
Definitely. It's always been something that I've been around my whole life. I started as actually, before that, I started as a Girl Scout, and I did a lot of extracurricular activities like that kind of enriched me into wanting to give back to the community. And starting me off, my parents, I was very involved in the church at a young age, so I did a lot of community engagement through that in the beginning. So when I eventually got to high school, I enrolled myself in clubs such as Red Cross, things like that, and that led on to UC Merced. So once I got to UC Merced, I got to really express myself in clubs and giving back to the community that way.
Now, was your involvement in clubs and other volunteer activities something you had to do? Was it something the school encouraged? What made you think that would be a good thing to do?
If my mom making me, then that was something that I had to do. But I think that little push in the beginning was something that helped me want to do it eventually. I started my first job locally at the YMCA, East Valley YMCA. So that was my first job, and that kind of led me into wanting to become more engaged in youth and children. And so I eventually went on to UC Merced with having that job still for a summer job in the meantime. But it was always something that I just enjoyed. I wanted to be a part of the community. I wanted to give back, and I wanted to have a variety of community members that I was actively engaging and being a part of.
So what was your job at the Y?
I was a swim instructor. So
Swim?
Yes. So I was swim coach / swim instructor, and taught kids, actually people of all ages. I went from infants to older adults that did, active, that wanted to stay active, and as well as swim coaching for all ages.
Wow. Well, after this show, you can tell me some embarrassing stories about kids who didn't work out so well.
I could do that.
So you mentioned your mother. Did you have, would you say she was a big influence in your life, and do you have others that kind of help motivate you?
Oh, yes, definitely. My mom has always been someone that has motivated me and encouraged me as well to go back into the community, to give back, to want to be a part of it, essentially, as well as my family in general. I was raised with the tribe, essentially. My whole family was engaged in everything. So wanting to be involved in the church, wanting to be involved in just every type of community, giving back to the community any way that they could. So my family has always been an influence of mine.
So do you have siblings? Are you an only child, or no such luck?
No, unfortunately. No, fortunately. I do have two younger sisters, and they have been huge influence as well. Trying to teach them little by little of what it means to want to give back and want to be a part of not just the community of San Jose, but the community overall in general, throughout, however they like.
So you're a literal and a figurative big sister.
Yes.
What were some of the things that you did when you were going to UC Merced? I know that's a new campus, fairly isolated. Did you have a chance there to get into community service?
I did. It was fairly new. It was only 4 years old by the time that I got there. So there were clubs that hadn't been established at all. There were a few that were there, but I went into the school with having classrooms still in portables, and so we kind of just had to find our own way. They gave us the skills to do it, but we had to figure out how we could become a part of that. So I started one of the clubs with a classmate of mine, sociology club. That was the first time. And the sociology department at UC Merced was non-existent before. So we were the ones that kind of started up that club, kind of encouraged more people to want to become more involved in essentially what sociology was. And then I was also in the psychology department. And I was a part of clubs such as Rotaract, UNICEF, Invisible Children at the time was...
Wait, Rotaract?
Rotaract, yeah. Rotaract is within the United States, just kind of giving back to the community locally. UNICEF is more of the international giving back. That was more raising money, fundraising type of club. And just, I guess, Sociology Club was a mixture of the three, but it was also just focusing on what Merced does, as well as trying to raise the community of Merced, because it was a little bit, it was coming up. So, yeah.
So here you are, did you know other people when you went to school there?
Nope, I was completely
on your own?
On my own, yep. I think I wanted it that way, though. I wanted to be able to find my own path and find my own, I guess, way through UC Merced. So I jumped into a lot of, I actually had my second job, which was it was called ERA, so it was an Empowering to Reach Achievements Award engagement, and that was Empowering to Reach Achievements, and that was basically just a position that helped me, that helped young students who were of low income, or high school juniors and seniors that wanted to go into college, and they didn't really know the path of how to do it. So we were there as mentors that would help them find the transfer requirements, as well as how to get into college and remain in college.
So what did you do? Did you get young people referred to you? Did you spend one-on-one time with them, or?
Yeah, so as mentors, we were given at least 11 to 15 students, and per school. And in the Central Valley, it was throughout the Central Valley. So we'd be given 3 to 4 high schools. And so we'd drive around every 3 days a week and visit these high schools, visit with these students one-on-one, create plans for them, create essentially paths. So what each specifically needed to transfer, how to get to college, and how to remain in college.
So you were a college student starting out almost, teaching high school students what they needed to do.
Yeah.
Wow, how cool.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's a lot of responsibility for, if I might say it again, a young person.
Yeah. As an 18-year-old, I had no idea what I was doing, but they taught us they taught us what it was to help students who were, not that much younger than us, but our encouragement and our importance of college and what it meant to us kind of transferred over to that, and they saw that, so I think they respected that as well.
So what was your major? It sounds like it was sociology.
My minor was sociology, my major was psychology.
Oh, okay, so you were dealing with stuff upstairs.
Yes.
I mean that in a good way. Did you work on research projects and other kinds of things that maybe give you insights into sort of scientific methods of measuring the success of the programs you're involved with?
Oh yeah, definitely. I focused a lot on developmental when I was in college, but I took classes, social psychology, and that actually helped a lot with what it was to interact with other people, and down to as simple as eye movements or interaction, and how a person's tone of voice will complement and show how they're expressing themselves, and kind of giving a person's, I guess, mental, it really is just understanding how body language, as well as what they're saying, kind of reflects on who they are and what they're trying to tell you.
So you're blessed, as I understand it, with the gift of speaking Spanish.
Yes.
That must have really increased your value in terms of being able to do outreach and speak with folks that wouldn't think, oh, a college student knows Spanish.
Definitely. I worked with United Way when I was also my junior year in Merced County United Way. And with that, we reached out to nonprofit organizations within Merced County as well, Central Valley overall, and that helped a lot. Knowing Spanish, because of course that was something that there's a wide variety of that of Spanish speakers there.
Yeah.
But also when I came back home and speaking Spanish to the students that I taught when I was the swim instructor, as well as just I would get calls, just needing help throughout when I was in school, and it's been very useful.
Maybe you could teach me.
Yeah, definitely.
Again, after the show.
Yes.
So what were some of the memorable moments going to UC Merced? I know they have great graduations.
Well, there was actually a speaker my freshman year that I'm not sure if you are aware. Michelle Obama came, and she spoke at our graduation. It was the first graduating class at UC Merced. So she was able to speak there, and it was amazing.
And you were able to go to that? You weren't graduating?
No. I was a freshman.
Well, I know you're pretty bright, but
not yet. No.
Just checking. Yeah, that's pretty amazing to get the First Lady. That must have really upped the spirits of the community.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it put UC Merced a little bit more on the map than what it was before. That was amazing to hear her speak.
So what happened after UC Merced? What was your next step?
So right after, I began a position as a after-school site director for the YMCA, East Valley YMCA. And
back here in San Jose area?
Back in San Jose, yes.
Yeah.
And that was at an elementary school that I basically oversaw 1st through 6th graders, as well as 4 staff. And I did that for a little bit. I did that for a year, and then I applied to Americorps. And Americorps was something that I actually recently graduated from.
Oh. And before we get to that, was that your first experience supervising other staff people?
Yes. That was the first ever. That was the first experience I've ever had actually having to supervise and essentially make the rules and how I thought that an after-school program should be run, and it was a good experience. It was a great experience, actually.
I bet it taught you a lot.
Yeah, it was difficult, but it was something that I think has carried on to my Americorps experience as well as afterwards. No.
Great. We're going to take a little break. Okay. When we come back, we'll talk about Stephanie, the supervisor.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Evan Lowe, member of the Campbell City Council, and I encourage you to get involved in your community, making sure that you are registered to vote, and that when you are registered to vote, that you in fact exercise that right to vote. It's so important for not only the younger generations to get involved, but it's important that all of us participate in the public process. So do your part. Register to vote, get others to vote, and make sure that you go out to the polls. And don't forget to volunteer for the Democratic Party.
Welcome back to Democratic Television and our guest, Stephanie Valenzuela. Stephanie, when we took a break, you were starting to explain your experience with Americorps. Tell us more about that. What program did you get into? What were your responsibilities? What the heck did you guys do?
Sure. So I was in Americorps, NCCC FEMA Corps, and that was Federal Emergency Management Agency. And essentially, what our goal was to hit any disaster that hit the United States, and go there, help them out in any way that we could. We were trained for a month in Iowa, so we did training on everything from disaster preparedness to our specific team was community engagement. So making sure that the disaster was, what we knew, what to do while we were already there. So what we did after that was, first round we went to Colorado. We helped out with the floods over there. So we did that.
I read about them.
Yeah, that was
wet,
pretty intense. Yeah. And we helped out with that. We went to the JFO out in Centennial, Colorado, and we helped out with essentially a specific project. So we went and helped out each nonprofit organization.
So they were trying to respond to the disaster. You were there to help them, to be an auxiliary to them?
Yes. So they gave us a specific project on, we needed to reach a certain amount of nonprofit organizations within Colorado in a specific time frame, and make sure that they had enough information, just in case that their organization was hit by any way. And so we were given that project on our own as a team of 9 at the time. I had a team of 9, and we just from scratch created it, decided what to do, and went for it. And my team and I think we did a pretty good job.
Did you lose any team members?
No.
Okay,
we
then.
did not. So I think we did a good job.
How did you get, I mean, the flooding happened. Did you get a call? Did you like run out of your office and slide down a pole
That's
and
exactly
jump into an airplane?
No. While we were in training in Iowa, we were actually on our way to Alabama, which was a continuation of a training.
Oh.
And at that point, they called the teams that were specifically disaster prepared, prepared for disaster for, it was a specific title that we had. Each team had a title, and so ours was to go out. So they had us actually cut our time short, our training short, and go immediately drive in our 15-passenger van,
Wow.
all 9 of us, from Iowa to Colorado. So did that.
Did I hear you say you were the team leader, or?
No,
Okay.
no, we had a team lead. That we were all essentially 18 to 24-year-olds, just picked as put into teams of 8 to 10, and from then on, and they were all complete strangers from all over the United States, and we all learned how to live together and do everything together. So
Did you have anything else in common besides your age? Were you all college graduates, or?
it was a variety. So we were actually some were high school graduates, some were college graduates. All of us essentially had the same goal to help communities and give back to the community, essentially, and not only to one but different variety of communities as well as we could. So, and after Colorado was done, they sent us, we did a month in training it was called transition. So we did transitioning in Iowa, and after that we were on to our next project in DC, Washington, DC.
In D.C.?
Yes.
I'm trying to think what happened there. What happened there?
Oh, there was nothing. It was,
Oh.
so we were sent to FEMA headquarters.
Oh,
So we did that, and it was more behind the scenes work. We were in logistics department, so we basically just worked on manufactured housing units, how they were distributed to disaster survivors, and we were disaster survivor assistants. That was our team focus, I guess.
because there were disasters going on all the time.
Yes.
In different parts we're not aware of.
Right. And it was just to essentially prepare for whatever could happen in the future as well. So if any disasters, or if any survivors were displaced from their homes in the future, that they would have those manufactured housing units ready, available to go whenever needed, whenever necessary. So we did that for the 2 months in Washington, D.C., lived in Maryland, and then went back to Iowa for another transitioning. And that was just refreshing on training, refresher on not just training for the disaster, but refresher on how to work as a team and how to become community activists. And we also had jobs within our teams. And so that was also, I guess it was essentially something that helped us grow as an individual, during our time in Americorps, not just as a disaster survivor, but professionally.
So did you have a different job in each, or were you a specialist? Were you the one who did videos, or?
No, I did. Mine specifically was support ranger and project outreach liaison. So as a support ranger, that was kind of like the I guess you could say the therapist of the group.
Oh.
So we would mitigate any sort of conflict among the team. We would create ways of how to better communicate, I guess, constructive criticism, and how to lead the team into a more, I guess, just to remain positive about the outcome, what we're doing, and how we were going about each project, because it would eventually it did get hard living with so many people in close quarters every day, and
That you hadn't known before, and
right.
didn't realize until you got there that their musical tastes weren't the same.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. We lived in cots in one of our rounds in Colorado.
Wow.
We slept on cots, and so that was something that was unique. It was very different.
So you're being taught the whole time more skills and communications, and in your case, conflict resolution and that kind of thing. Were other people getting different kinds of training at the same time, or?
Yes, yeah. So what we did was, within the teams or other
Yeah,
teams.
within the teams.
Yes. So as I had another role, and that was project outreach liaison, and so that
Yeah.
we were taught how to go out into the communities that we were in and reach out to nonprofit organizations so that we could volunteer on the weekends. And so we'd have to send emails, give calls, visit, just to get more experience in different types of nonprofit organizations and do that.
So this Americorps program had you guys, were there other teams going on at the same time? So when you were in Iowa, were there 20 other teams that had been dispatched across the country?
Yes. So we were disaster survivor assistance, but there were others that were specifically, logistics. They were different types of focuses that each team had. So in the beginning, they gave us specific roles or specific, titles of what we were supposed to be doing. So everybody was trained on essentially the same thing, but we also had individual training as well for our roles.
So did you go on to other disasters after that, or?
No, unfortunately we didn't. They didn't need any disaster survivor assistance after that, so we went back to DC twice.
I guess you did such a good job.
Hopefully. I think
How
so.
long was the program?
That was 10 months.
10
months.
And what happened? How did that program end? Did you have like a graduation? Did you guys get together? Are you in communication with some of these other people?
Oh, yeah.
Did you meet new BFFs?
Forever. Yes, we had a graduation ceremony at the end. We were there for about 2.5 weeks, and that was just to close out everything, to to see what we learned, to kind of discuss it among the whole Corps as a whole, and just to kind of close out everything that we did, because it was such a large amount of time to be together and to go through what we went through, and to kind of get ready to be in the real world again. I've built relationships that I know I will have forever.
So what's the goal now? You're out in the community, all of you train people, you'll go on and get other jobs. Are you on call or ready to go down that fire pole again?
No, unfortunately, once we graduate. But whenever I know a lot of my teammates, as well as other Corps members, do want to go into disaster relief and disaster preparedness.
So how do you think this benefits you as a person from having done this?
I think it's taught me how to become a person that isn't limited to one community. I personally have learned how to become more involved in the community. I knew before, but I feel that as though you learn how to be on your own for so long, but you also learn how to communicate effectively with a team, with a group of people that are not only your teammates, but are your coworkers, your teammates, your roommates. And I feel that if you are able to do that, that's something that you can take on any type of situation, any type of work situation, living situation, and you just become a better person in general of how to communicate what you want in life, and then that's in anything, and express that in your work, in your in any work that you do. As well as I felt that living in different states as well was something that I probably would not have had the experience to do. Living on the East Coast as well as the Midwest as well as the East Coast is completely different, but great experience.
So what would your family say, or maybe what did they say when you came back? Did they recognize you when you came back? Were you the same person? Would you have a little bit more serious outlook on life, or?
I think it's made me more, well, I think they probably saw a little bit more that although it's one step at a time. So I do have a little bit more experience in different types of jobs, and they see that. They saw that I had a variety of experience working with a variety of people. But I'm sure that they are able to see that I have more of a motivation to get out and continue doing what I'm doing, to find a career that I can stay involved in the community, and as well as
yeah. What about your younger sisters?
I hope that I can bring some sort of I think they see that I've had a variety of experience, and they are motivated by it. I hope I hope they are. I think they are.
Well, we have young people that watch this show. There might be some that want to do a shout out to you. Do you have an email address or some way that they can get hold of you?
Yes. It's stephanievalenzuela90@gmail.com.
Well, that was easy. So what are your next steps? We have about a minute left. What does your future hold?
Well, right now, I have just applied to a program. It's called Camp Adventure, and that's going to be a partnership between the University of Northern Iowa and the nonprofit organization. So with that, hopefully, I'll be teaching kids on a military base in Germany, and that'll hopefully that'll be it'll be a 5-month internship, and that'll count as a master's as well. So.
Oh, you'll get educational credits, and you'll be in Germany.
Yes.
And you'll be around kids.
Yes, American. It's American military.
American.
Yes.
So that might be okay, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
So you see yourself as having a future in giving back to the community, and it sounds like it's a program that's really matured you and made you more aware of what the world's like, and you seem to be okay with all that.
Oh yeah, I really do see community engagement, community activism as something that's important for anybody, even if it's as little as going to the local nonprofit organization and helping out a couple hours a week, or going across the world and helping out with a completely different state and people who are completely different than you. I think any step that you can do, anything,
Great.
helps out.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Stephanie Valenzuela.
Thank
This has
you.
been great.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it.
Thanks for watching Democratic Television. Give us a call at 408-445-9500 or visit our website, sccdp.org, and help make a difference, just like Stephanie. We'll see you on the campaign trail.